The Knicks are casting a wide net in their coaching search. It'll apparently include a familiar, though surprising, name. ESPN TNT analyst Kenny Smith will interview for the New York Knicks head coaching job on Friday, a source told ESPN's Stephen A. Smith. The quality organization, the Rockets, interviewed Smith in 2016, before hiring Mike D'Antoni. So, this isn't proof of the Knicks' oddball thinking. There are plenty of better examples, if you wish. Steve Kerr opened the door for former players to go straight from TV to being an NBA head coach without having any coaching experience. He's been a smash hit with the Warriors. But Kerr was also the Suns' general manager before Golden State hired him. Smith has no front office experience. So, it's tough to judge Smith, whose role on television is more to entertain than inform, though he does both. He'll have to really wow in his interview to get the job. But at least he has that opportunity. In the first 2 games against Boston, Jabari Parker is 1 of 7 shooting, has grabbed 15% of the available rebounds while on the court, low for a big expected to board, has more turnovers than assists, has been exploited on defense by Boston, and is -29. All in just 25 minutes. Parker is also frustrated he isn't getting more minutes and more of a chance to prove himself. For Stephen Watson of WISN News 12 in Milwaukee, Jabari Parker was very animated talking about his frustration right now with limited minutes. He mentioned the only way to see the floor more was to be on the coach's good side. When asked if he was on Prunty's good side, he smirked and said, "I don't think so. I have a right to be frustrated. I've waited 2 years for this." Stephen Watson, at @Wizened_Watson, April 19, 2018, "I'm human. I deserve to be out there. I'm not going to handle it well. I have feelings. I've been waiting 2 years. I've been waiting all that time and to see myself get cut short. No one is going to handle that the right way." Here's Jabari Parker on his frustration. pic.twitter.com/u334erdift. Stephen Watson, at @Wizened_Watson, April 19, 2018. While there are questions about how Joe Prunty has handled the Bucks and their rotations in this series, more Jabari Parker is nobody's answer. Except Parker's. And Celtics fans. Parker can be as frustrated as he wants. He hasn't played his way into more minutes. Parker returned to the Bucks in January after rehab on his second ACL surgery and averaged 12.6 points per game. He showed some value, with an ability to score efficiently inside and shooting 38% from 3, averaging 12.6 points per game. But he remains a below-the-rim player who struggles to defend, and in the playoffs that gets a guy a seat. It's going to be an interesting summer. Parker is a restricted free agent this summer and the Bucks do not see him as a core part of their future next to Giannis Antetokounmpo anymore. They are not going to come in with a big offer to keep him. However, his play, especially in the postseason, and injury history, combined with a tight free agent market, means he may not have many suitors at all. Is it possible a rebuilding team willing to take a chance, Phoenix, Atlanta, etc., would come in with an offer higher than the Bucks would match? Yes, it's possible. But it won't be for a lot of years, just 1 or 2, as teams want to see if he can get right and become the player he once projected to be. Everything you saw in the first 2 games of this Miami-Philadelphia playoff series you can throw out in the trash. Joel Embiid is back and is now probable for Game 3, the Sixers announced, upgrading his status from doubtful earlier in the day. Embiid had been out with a concussion and orbital bone fracture. Joel Embiid is upgraded to probable for Game 3. Jessica Camarada, at @JCameron BCS, April 19, 2018. Embiid will go through warm-ups, trying out both a mask and goggles, then will make a formal decision. However, he is expected to go. He certainly wants to play. And he is expected to start. How many minutes he can go remains to be seen. This changes the Sixers and the series. Yes, Philly has likely Rookie of the Year Ben Simmons and high-quality role players such as J.J. Redick and Robert Covington. However, is Embiid that makes it all work? Put simply, when Embiid is on the court, the Sixers are 15.2 points per 100 possessions better, their defense is elite and their offense is outstanding. The Sixers will be better with their best player back in the fold, but don't think this makes the series a cakewalk for Philly. It changes everything about matchups, but things are not all positives. When Embiid is on the court, the up-tempo, ball movement style that the Sixers built around Simmons slows down and stops at points. The Sixers have played Hassan Whiteside and his rim protection off the court with floor spacing shooting bigs. Now he has a place to be in the matchups. There are things the Heat can do now that may work for them. It just may not matter. Philadelphia just got a lot better. LeBron James's Cavaliers looks to be in a battle royal in the first round, and they could lose to Victor Oladipo's Pacers. Miami's defense and versatility is challenging the Sixers and shaking the faith of all those that just jumped on the bandwagon. Utah stole a game in Oklahoma City, showing great grit and resolve, not to mention a lot of Donovan Mitchell. Anthony Davis has done everything but walk on water for the Pelicans. The first round of the NBA playoffs has been filled with fascinating storylines, and we are just 2 games into each series. Kurt Halen and Dan Feldman of NBC Sports break down all 8 first-round series in this podcast, starting in the East and the tight races there, then move into the West. There's even some "who wants to pay Jabari Parker this summer" talk thrown in. As always, you can check out the podcast below. Listen and subscribe via iTunes at applepodcasts.com/pvideonepc. Subscribe via the fantastic Stitcher app. Check us out on Google Play, or check out the NBC Sports Podcast homepage and archive at Art19. Phil Jackson received a standing ovation in his first game at Madison Square Garden as Knicks president. Don't forget how excited New York was for Jackson, who coached the Bulls and Lakers to 11 championships and played for the Knicks' last title team. He was welcomed as a potential savior. The common refrain, Jackson would have a chance to succeed if Knicks owner James Dolan didn't meddle. Immediately, Dolan said he would cede control to Jackson, willingly and gratefully. Dolan later pledged to honor Jackson's full 5-year contract. But fans turned on Jackson as he did an awful job and the Knicks struggled. Dolan opted into the final 2 years of Jackson's contract, anyway, as he said he would all along. Fans got angrier when Jackson publicly flaunted Kristaps Porzingis trade talks. Outrage reached a fever pitch. Finally, Dolan stepped in to fire Jackson. Dolan, via Larry Brooks of the New York Post, "A great player in hockey is the difference, but a great player in basketball is the team. And I think we have a great player in Porzingis. We just have to build around him. Everybody who wants to talk about the Knicks wants to ask me about Phil Jackson," Dolan said, smiling and shaking his head. "The entire market wanted me to hire him, and when I did, the entire market said it was a great move. The only thing was, everyone said that I shouldn't interfere with him. 3 years later, everyone wanted to know when I was going to do something about Phil. The same people who told me not to interfere wanted me to interfere. But that's okay. I just think that Phil underestimated the job." Dolan makes a salient point about how people perceive his involvement. The problem isn't that Dolan meddles. It's that he makes poor decisions. Hiring Jackson, an out-of-touch former coach with no front office experience, was a poor decision. I'm not enthused about Steve Mills as Jackson's replacement, either, though we'll see how that plays out. Building around Porzingis is a better decision. He's an extremely talented 22-year-old. But it's hardly a foolproof plan. Porzingis is recovering from a torn ACL. Dolan said Porzingis could return in December, or miss next season entirely. Either way, the Knicks must surround Porzingis with better teammates. Dolan will and should be a part of that process. Whether he'll positively affect it is another matter.